Hello guys, Adam here from Switch Indie Fix and welcome to the Switch Indie Fix podcast, a podcast dedicated to everything indie on Nintendo Switch. This week I'll be going through the latest indie game and Nintendo news, and then I'm going to go on to give my impressions on games like YIIK Postmodern RPG, Away Journey to the Unexpected, and Reverie Sweet as Edition, as well as rounding off the podcast with your questions. It's a very nice, shiny, blue skied day here in Vienna, a little bit cold. You may have noticed that my voice sounds a little bit, I don't know. It doesn't sound as clear as I want it to be. I'm kind of recovering from a cold, which I feel like I've had for the last 3 months. So if I sound a bit funny, that's why. But yeah, guys, episode 20 of the podcast is finally here. I feel like we were making good progress, and then the last couple of weeks I've been busy. But I'm back. I'm ready. I have a lot of guests lined up this month, so we should be getting some new people coming on the podcast. And I'm very hyped to go. Just a gentle reminder, guys, with the podcast, I do need your questions. If you have any questions, any Nintendo related, indie game related, and you want them all read out on the show, then why not hit me up? Just go to switchindiefix.com/SIF podcast. There is it's a link to a Google form. You just fill out the form and I will hopefully read out your questions, just like I'm going to do today with BenjiCon, Bill Gilmore, Dr. Fact, and Capia, who all asked their questions. Not there, actually, they did it on Discord, but anyway, and Twitter, so anyway, it doesn't matter. So, as always, guys, we're going to start off this week with the news. There are, I'm going to say, 4.5 items on the list this week. That's half a baker's dozen. And the first story this week is To the Moon coming to the Switch. So, in a strange sort of circumstance, To the Moon's director, composer, writer, and overall developer may have confirmed that his game is coming to the Nintendo Switch. What's funny is that he did it via an email to a fan who simply asked if the game would ever get a Switch port. So via Reddit, the passionate fan posted a screenshot of his emails with To the Moon's developer Kangyo, or Gao, maybe it's called. The fan asked, "Are there any plans to bring To the Moon to the Switch, given how many indie games have seen success with being re-released on the platform?" To which Gao replied, "We do have some arrangements to it." This seems to be a confirmation that they're at least in planning stages of bringing the game to the Switch, or, at least the Switch is definitely coming. Plus, with To the Moon's ties to Tiny Build, it shows that there's probably good signs that the game is actually going to come to the Switch, because Tiny Build seems very intent on porting all of its indie games over to the Switch. I think the latest ones have been like Punch Club, and there was Hello Neighbor and Party Hard, and I think Party Hard 2 are all coming over to the Switch too. So I think To the Moon was published by Tiny Build on Steam. So yeah, it's like a good sign that they will be bringing it over if Tiny Build seems to be in this mood of porting their indie games to the Switch, and if the developer has kind of confirmed it in this email. And yeah, I just thought it was an interesting story that this kind of announcement was kind of made via just a fan sending an email and asking. I feel like this might be bad news for indie developers, as now lots of other just fans are going to be emailing the developer asking if the game is coming to the Switch, which, to be honest, is probably what happens anyway, because of the success of indie games on the Switch. And just an FYI, if you don't know what To the Moon is, it's like a narrative-driven adventure game based on a character called Johnny, whose dying wish is to go to the moon. I believe it's like a very, very sad game. It has like beautiful pixel art. It looks really, really gorgeous. And yeah, it was all made by this one guy called Kan Gao. So a really cool game. I really hope it comes to the Switch. It's been one that's been on my list. I've seen it on sale on Steam a few times, and I've been like, maybe I should buy it. But I've been kind of hoping and waiting to see if it would come to the Switch. So this is exciting news for me. So the second story this week is Image and Form, the developers of the SteamWorld series, or the SteamWorld franchise, I guess, had a competition to have your art in their new game, SteamWorld Quest. So sadly, the competition is actually over. They just did it as like a 24-hour thing, but I thought it was a bit of cool news nonetheless. Yes, you could have had your art be part of the new SteamWorld Quest game, which is coming to the Switch, I think, later this year. Basically, Image and Form asked fans via Twitter to create a background NPC for SteamWorld Quest. So they said, you should reply with a description and a sketch of robot doing something to enter. So they were basically looking for like the basically an NPC in like an idle animation in the background of the game. So maybe they're in like a market and your robot is doing something there. So yeah, I think this is like a really cool way to get fans involved with the game, because the responses to the tweet, the artwork was both like very simple, I thought, and very artistic. So it was like a wide range of people entering the competition. I don't think there's been any news on who won. So yeah, it's kind of interesting, or how many people they were, or how many of these NPCs they were going to add to the game. I don't know if it was just one or if they were going to do a few. They said that the winners would be chosen, and they'd all win a copy of the game when the game comes out, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I think it's just a funny, interesting story. My idea for the competition would have been, I want like an old robot, maybe with like a crutch under his arm and a bandage on his knee, and I want like the meme from Skyrim, like, oh, I used to be an adventurer like you, but then I took an arrow to the knee. I thought that would have been pretty funny, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe that meme's like really old now. It just kind of shows my age, I guess. Yeah, my overall impressions on the game. When it was first shown in the indie highlights, I kind of had a bit of I was kind of a bit nervous about it, because I saw it was a card game, and as soon as I saw card game, I thought, okay, there's going to be packs and like loot boxes. So I've kind of was a bit wary of it. Like I love playing SteamWorld. Well, I love SteamWorld Dig 2. I gave it a 10 out of 10 in my review.